Hi, this is Chris Bilbao of Bilbao Boardgames, and this is a video discussing my game April 14th, 1865. It's a historical kind of spy adventure inspired by the unfortunate assassination of President Lincoln. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to talk about, what motivated me to make this, why this theme, why this layout, and whatnot. And really, I guess at the beginning, right, let's talk about the idea. It goes back to when I was a kid and I used to make these choose your own adventure games. I love doing that. This one right here, I don't know why there's two of them. This one looks a little bit more complete. It was a lot of fun building this, making these. I don't actually remember making this one per se. I don't know how old I was. I wish I could remember. Maybe 8 or 9. And I'm not sure what inspired it, but if I'm remembering correctly, I think the History Channel had like a documentary on, it was like a reenactment of Lincoln's assassination, and I found it really interesting. I think that's what encouraged me to make it. Plus, my dad was really into the Civil War, so we'd make many trips to Gettysburg. We had old Civil War memorabilia, books, pictures around the house, so that was always in the back of my head. And like I said, yeah, I made these games, and I wish I could remember. This is funny, this was my research at the time, and I think I was trying to make a code here. I screwed up all these letters, but it says it was from the Compton's Encyclopedia, Interactive Encyclopedia from 94, 95, 96. I think that was that CD that came with the Windows 95. Maybe someone knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I think it's probably before 2000, so it might have been like anywhere between 8 to 12. And jumping ahead now to the print and play. Why print and play? I actually saw it on Kickstarter. I think it's called High Seas or Rolling Seas, Rolling Tides. I can't remember, and I didn't get the chance to play it yet. But I thought it was really fascinating. It was a one-page print and play, so you print it out and you have your dice and you're ready to go. It seemed really interesting. I haven't had a chance to play it, but I backed it. I have it. But I love that concept. I like the simplicity of it. A lot of the games I'm trying to make are very simple. So I was like, oh, well, I need to make one. And at some point, the thought crossed my mind to be like, oh, what could work with this is the old, the night Abraham Lincoln was not shot. And originally, it didn't quite look like this. It was kind of like these little circles that all connected. And, you need to be at a certain level within the conspirators for them to allow you to access the next level. And certain spaces were closed off until then. And certain spaces unlocked a gun that you could use to try to stop Booth, and so on and so on. I'm not quite sure, as with most games, it's an iterative process, but I kind of landed on here. And even some of the spaces, I wanted to try to make it as geographical accurate as possible, but it wasn't that possible, so I snuck in some little kind of Easter eggs, if you will. So number 9, of course, is Ford's Theater, where President Lincoln was assassinated. But some of the safe houses and stuff before then. Well, I should actually say the rendezvous booth part, I think that was the most accurate, because number 17 is supposed to be the Herndon House, and that's where Booth met with the other conspirators before departing to the Star Saloon, which is next door to the theater, and then finally the theater. So that's about, step 4 is about as accurate as it gets. I try to do it with the safe houses too. That's why they're kind of the same. I was like, oh, safe house could be the Star Saloon where he was a regular, the Herndon House. Number 23 was it just made sense with the game to try to have it spread out. It would have been nice to have the Mary Surratt house, who was kind of also involved with the conspiracy, but she was way off in the corners, or the hotel that Booth stayed off, but that was way off there. So I kind of ultimately settled on that, at least for the rendezvous part. And then again, jump into the overview. One of the reasons why I decided that you would be an ex-Confederate soldier, I wanted to mention divine providence, because if you've studied the Battle of Gettysburg specifically, there was a lot of reasons, a lot of opportunities for the South, the Confederates, to have won that battle, which would have been really, I'd say, game-changing, really, for the war. Because up to that point, the South, the Confederate, had been really successful, much more so than the Union, obviously, but even like the generals for the Union Army kept getting swapped out. There was a lot of losses there. Popularity was really low. A lot of the populace in the North were really upset. They were tired of the war. Lincoln was almost about to get voted out that year, if you could believe it. And a lot of people, countries on the other side, like Britain and France, were watching the war. And some could argue that had the Confederates been successful at Gettysburg, not only would that have been a huge blow to the North, because it was the first like really offensive strike in there, it also could have turned the tide. It could have got the French or the English involved. And that could, again, been huge to changing the outcome. So I say divine providence because obviously the South, the Confederates need to lose. For anyone that's not familiar, one of the outcomes would have been that slavery would have been preserved. And that's obviously a terrible, terrible thing. So I said that I wanted there to be divine providence. I wanted him to be an ex-Confederate soldier who fought in Gettysburg, because there were a lot of opportunities where the South could have won but didn't. And really the only explanation for that is that, the South had to lose. God was in play there. The same way how, the Americans won the Revolutionary War, so did the North win the Civil War, because it was, on the fighting for freedom. So that's it. Whoops, let me do that. Just a quick overview, a quick background. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the game. And thank you for listening.